Hi everyone, it's Diane. I hope everything is going well for you during our COVID-19 self-isolation. I'm really pleased to bring to you the 4 cards, and thank you for buying the kit to go this month for May. If you didn't purchase it and you're watching the video, I hope this gives you an idea of what my kits to go look like. There are 8 cards, 4 of 2 different designs for $25. If you need it shipped or you need adhesive, those things would come on top of that. So you'll be providing your own adhesive for these cards. I'm going to head over to the video camera and walk you through each card, showing you the different steps to putting them together. Again, you're going to be making 2 of each. I'm just going to demonstrate 1 of each card. All right, you're going to see part of my side because I haven't figured out how to make this video work so that I can also see what I'm doing at the same time. So over we go. Here's our first card. And the reason that the cards don't have stamped images and greetings and images on them is because all of our stamps are copyrighted. And so that means that we cannot stamp them onto paper and then sell those stamped images within a kit. So that's why we're using the die cuts. All right, so here we go. This is our first card. You'll get an envelope with all the supplies for 2 of each card in it. This is what your supplies look like. They're all pre-cut. And you've got your card base. We'll start with first. You're going to fold it in half and score it with a bone folder if you feel that you'd like to use one of those or the edge of your thumb. I've also seen people take their scissors and do the edge with their scissors. Set that aside for a moment. We're going to work on the white layer. For the white layer, we're going to take this pretty patterned paper. This is the flowers on the one side, and then this patterned paper on the other. And we're going to adhere it to the bottom here. If it extends a little wee bit, once you have it glued down, you can take your scissors and give it a wee haircut. All right, so I'm going to use my Snail Adhesive. That's my adhesive of choice. But also on these cards, I'm going to use Tombow liquid glue, and I'll show you how you can use the snail in lieu of that in some cases. As well, we're going to be using the dimensionals. All right, so we're going to stick a strip of adhesive in about 3 places. Find the right orientation, the right way up that I would like for this on my card. I'll stick this to the bottom. And because I want my ribbon to wrap around this layer, but not on the card base, I'm going to just work on it like this. So I'm going to wrap it around. And then over on the right, I'm going to tie a knot. So just a plain old knot, right over left and under, left over right and under. And you can get as fussy as you like about it to make sure that it lies nicely. I'm going to just trim the edges of my ribbon. If you trim on an angle, it doesn't tend to fray quite as easily as if you did not. All right, the next step is going to be to work with your flower. So you've got 2 pieces of this Mango Melody, and we need to put a little adhesive in the middle. So I'm going to take my liquid glue. You can use Snail as well. I really like the liquid glue. It's inexpensive. It works for lots of applications, and it's always in stock, easy to get. So you're going to glue them and offset them. And then we're going to add to them the green leaves. So this is what we call the sprig. We're going to put a little bit of adhesive right here at the bottom. And then the same thing on the other one that comes in the package. And this is the green sprig. And on the back of the flower, I'm going to put one there. And I'm going to put the other one sort of rotated this way a little bit. So I'm going to stick it over my ribbon. Now, one of the things about putting items on ribbon or over ribbon is to not put the dimensional right on the ribbon. If you do, then your piece is going to flip-flop. But if you put it on the cardstock on either side, it will stay nicely. So I also want to add a little doily. So you've got one doily in the package. You're just going to cut it across. So you end up with two for your two different cards. Here's the one that I need. I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue on here. And then the same thing, you can add your Snail Adhesive or whatever other adhesive you're using. You can add it to the back. And the back is the non-shiny or the flat looking side. Just going to tuck it under my ribbon a little bit. Just adds a little bit more to my card. Now, if you're not liking doilies, you don't have to put them on at all. Then I'm going to add this here. And remember, I mentioned about putting dimensionals not on the ribbon, but on the paper. So I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to take two dimensionals. Oops, one here and one here. This also helps anchor those sprigs down a little bit. Peel the backs off. Stick it in place, and there's that part done. Now the next thing is to take this brown sprig, which I included in there, and you're going to snip two pieces to make this part inside the middle of the card. What you might have to do, because I had to do this when I was prepping them, kind of find where those two pieces are to easily match them up. So I'm just going to cut, oops, move that out of the way. I'm just going to cut the top two pieces off. And then I'm going to, this is kind of fussy, and if you don't want to do that, that's okay. You can leave it without that on it. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to put them in the center like that. I might actually cut this big guy off. Oops. Big guy off. Okay, so I'm going to put a little glue here, a little glue here. Then I'm going to stick it in the middle, just like that. Not too fussy on how this lands, because I'm going to cover the middle of it up. It just adds a little bit of stamen to the center of your card. And then I'm going to take my pearl, which is self-adhesive on the back, and tuck that into the center of the card. So there's our card front, our layer front. And I'm going to now work on the words. So one thing you can use is a little bit of wax paper. So you might want to add that to what you're doing, but you're going to get your greeting like this, and you're going to have to punch a few of the pieces out of the center on these different cards. I've die cut them, but there'll be little pieces that you'll just need to lightly tap out. I'm using a little tool that I have. You can use an ice pick, you can use the edge of your scissors, whatever works for you. And then if you're wanting to use your snail, then you could put this face down on wax paper and run this across, and then it won't stick to the wax paper. I'm going to use my silicone mat. So if you have a piece of silicone that you use in the kitchen for baking and that, you can do the same thing. I'm just going to put a few dots of liquid glue on mine to adhere it. But again, because I'm using it on a silicone sheet, it's not going to stick. That extra glue is not going to stick to my surface that I'm working on. So I've added just a wee bit of glue to the back. A little dab will do you with this stuff. And then bring my card layer back in and put my greeting to the right above the knot. That's where I'm ended. Now all that's left to do is to add it to the card base. I'm going to use dimensionals for that. I'm going to use one in each corner. And you always want to put, when you're putting adhesive on, pretty much you always want to put it on the smaller layer. If you put your dimensionals on the larger layer, that being your card base, what I found is that it tends to go off the spot and ends up showing through. So I always put it on the smallest piece. That works a little bit better for me. All right, so over the top we go. It's got some dimensionals on it. Boom, card number 1 is all done. So you're going to make 2 of them. Our second card is this cute lion one. Now, I know you may have seen the picture with the koala bear. I ran out of the paper with the koala bear cutouts with all these kits. So we're going to do a lion on these ones here that I'm doing the video for. Alrighty, there is our koala. So once again, we have a card base. We're going to fold it in half. It opens this way, like a book. And we don't have a layer on top, so we can work right on top of it. You've got some strips. You've got this oval and a greeting, and some other bits and pieces. So let's start with putting the lion onto the starburst. Use a little bit of my snail on the back of it. I'm going to center it over the points on the starburst. And on the back of it, for now, I'm going to put 3 dimensionals. Doesn't really matter where. Just 3 around like that. Set that aside. I'm going to take my card base, which I folded, and I'm going to put down my 4 pieces of patterned paper. So I use the stripes to the left, and then the sort of this has arrows and circles on it. You'll notice the paper's double-sided, so you might even have 2 or 3 of the same pattern. This is a way that I'm putting mine together. And then the next one will be these cute guys all in a row. And then finally, the yellow looks kind of like sprinkles that you'd put on a cupcake or a cake. So I'm basically going to lay them down this way. So I'm going to first put adhesive onto the back of the left one. I want to be conscious of leaving space for my greeting down at the bottom here. Then I'm going to put on the back, adhesive onto the back of the one with the circles and the arrows. And I'm kind of fanning them out so it's a little wider at the top than it is at the bottom. And then the critters, they go next. This is a really, really simple card layout if you're looking to duplicate with other stuff you have at home. And here's our sprinkles on the right. There's no perfect measurement. You'll see it's a little more space on the left than I have on the right. That's cool. I'm good with that. All right, then I'm going to go back to my lion, peel off the backings, and pop him down. So he kind of covers where they meet at the bottom. Make sure he's facing upright. And then I've got some circles for the balloons. So you can see that the strings are here. I'm going to put one of these to the right, and then this one's called Bermuda Bay, the color. I'm going to put the Bermuda Bay one to the right, and then the Mango Melody up here. So to do that, I'm going to put a little bit of snail or liquid glue on the edge. Have it over here, and then I'm going to put this one, I want to do the same thing by putting a little bit of adhesive on one half and putting it there so that they kind of overlap and they sit up on the card as well. All right, then we've got our hooray greeting, which I'm going to move back to my silicone sheet, flip it over, take my liquid glue, and add a few dots here and there. Now this is where you'd want to use your, if you're using snail, maybe some wax paper or a piece of a silicone sheet from the kitchen that you might have, something that keeps it from sticking to your work surface. And then you can add your snail on it here and there. Okay. Get our card back in here and center our hooray greeting. Oops, there we go. And that's all put down. If you're wanting to press it down but worried you're going to shift it, you can flip your card over and gently press like that on the back. And then in your pack, you should also have two little, they are metallic pearls. I'm going to grab them with my scissors, or you can use tweezers if you have tweezers. Whoops, that one went flying. I'm going to find him later. And I'm going to put one. He's really, let's see. I'm going to put one on his belly. When I do find the other one, I'm going to stick it up here, or you could put them on the balloons, wherever you wish. Oh, there he is. I found him. Okay, I'm just going to stick it over here, just to the right. There we go. I'm going to stick it over there so that it's on the side. Okay, and that's card number 2. And again, you're going to make 2 of them. Card number 3, let's clear this off. Card number 3 is a beautiful mint green color, and it says "for you." It's another die cut. This is a retired one. If those of you that are purchasing and watching the video, this is a retired greeting. But you could find something else that easily fit on there. All right, so open up your package and get out your bits and pieces. And you'll also have envelopes. I haven't shown that, but you will have envelopes with your packages. Here is our card base, and I folded them once for you so they fit in the envelope nicely. But give it a nice press with your bone folder, and we will leave that on here. We're going to work on the white piece. The large white piece will have small bits that you'll need to poke out, so you can use the tip of your scissors or a pokey tool or ice picks type of tool that you might have. Just be careful, they do come out of here and they are a bit attached, so you just gently want to be working with that. I also embossed this layer afterwards, so it has a little wee bit of texture, which you may not be able to see on the camera, but you should be able to feel it in person. So we're going to work with this piece. So let's move our card base out for a moment. And once you've got all those pieces poked out, then you're going to take the gold strip and put it flush on this edge. So with this, you can use your Snail Adhesive to layer it flush with the bottom, flush with the top, and flush with the edge. And it's a little wider than you really need because we're going to layer this color over top. This has the gold accents in it. This paper is from Ornate Garden, which is new and continuing in our new catalog, starts June 3rd. So if you like this side better, by all means, go ahead. I like this, the gold side, gold embossed side. So there's no rhyme or reason. I'm leaving about a ½ inch. You do what feels right for you. Oh, that's a little off. Hold on. Move it over just a titch. That looks a little better. Okay. And then to hide that seam between the two, I'm going to take this long strip of mint macaron ribbon. So on the back, I'm going to put a little bit of snail for it to grab onto. I'm going to bend it over and then pull it taut down there and bend it over on that side so that it has something to stick to. I'm going to go over it with a little bit more snail just to kind of help hold it in place. We're back to the front. And then you've got the rest of what looks like a tied bow all in one piece, but you've put the strip down here in ribbon, and then you're going to take the bow off of the backing sheet. Now, backing sheet is waxy, and there is a glue dot on there already for you, and then just position it wherever you would like it to go. Trim it if you need to. I'm pretty comfortable with where mine has landed. And then we're going to add it to the card base, and we're going to measure it up by having it have a somewhat equal border all the way around. I'm going to let this float. I'm not gluing these flower parts down. Oops, there's a piece that I missed poking out. This is where you might see that. So I'm going to add adhesive everywhere but the flowers. So I'm actually going to go all the way around on this one so that I know that it stays down nicely. It's embossed, so that does always means it may not grip in every single edge that you're touching, so I put more adhesive to help it stay in place. So then this is floating a bit. I'm good with that. I like that. I think it adds a little bit more to it. All right, so then we'll work on the last bit with the greeting. So you've got a scalloped circle in mint macaron, a gold circle, which we will put down with our adhesive right over top the scallop one. And then I've got my For You. It's all one piece. So I'll bring my silicone mat in again. Actually, this time I'll show you with the wax paper. So here's a piece of wax paper and my snail. So I want to carefully add some snail to it. I think the glue is a better option for me. And just kind of poke out any of the excess that's kind of hanging around. And I'm going to put this right on top of the gold. Now we're putting this sticky piece onto this piece of gold. If you don't want it to get smeary, then you want to make sure when you put it down, it goes down, it stays down, because that is difficult to get that adhesive off if it's not quite where you want it and you try to reposition it. All right, back with the dimensionals. I'm going to add 2 onto the back of this. Peel off the backings and then stick it down here. And then we have a couple of these jewels, which are called gilded gems, and they are self-adhesive as well. So you can just get your scissors up underneath them, and I'm just going to put them one here and one here. They have a beautiful faceted multi-sides to them, which makes them really glimmer nicely in the light. All right, that's card number 3, and you'll make 2 of those. Tuck that aside. And this is our final card. Here's what it looks like. It's a welcome card. If welcome doesn't suit you, no problem. You just go ahead and leave that off. It's certainly not necessary. All right, so we'll set that aside. Here's your card base, fold it in half. It's a top opening card, or what we would refer to as sort of an easel opening card. I'm going to crease the edge. It has a matching color embossed layer to go on top. Now, whether you put dimensionals or glue it straight down is entirely up to you. I'm going to put dimensionals on this one. I didn't do that on the original, but I think I will on this one. So this has been embossed with the embossing folder floral one that goes with the Ornate Garden Suite. And it is quite nice to work with, I must say. All right. Check the way that your card's opening. It's opening top, so we put this down in the right direction. Okay, put that in there. And then the next piece is this beautiful die cut. And I really had a hard time deciding how much did I want to let it cut off? Did I want to, keep some of it? And I decided to run it diagonally across the card. So for this one, using your adhesive of choice, whether that's snail or liquid glue, I'm just going to put it on the more, the thicker edges where the larger flowers and leaves are. It doesn't need to be glued perfectly down in every spot. This will hold it nicely in place. Get a little spot over there. And flip it over, get it on its diagonal. And place it down. Let it dry. And you can flip it over this way and gently press it into place. There we go. And then you have these cute little flowers, which I kind of spaced out. And yes, this one I think, oh, actually, you know what? I put this on the opposite direction than the sample. So I'm going to put one here, one here, one here, and one down here. But they all need dimensionals. So let's flip them over and add the dimensionals to the back. So one here, number two there. So you should have 8 flowers in there, 4 rather for each card. And then what really makes them shine and stand out, I think, are the rhinestones. So we're going to take our rhinestones and we're going to stick one across the page, across the table, obviously. One in the center of each. 2. Okay, and then the last piece is to put the welcome greeting on there. And I'm not going to put mine on this time. I may do something different with this card. But again, you would punch out any of the little pieces that are still stuck in the die. Use your liquid glue or snail and put it down there. And that is our 4th card. So let me just switch over here. Thank you for listening all the way through this video. I really hope this helps you put them together. And if you didn't get the kit this time and you're interested, please contact me at stampinwithdiane@bell.net. That's STAMPIN with Diane@bell.net. Or call me 519-830-6751 and I'll get you connected for the kit for June. I will show you really quickly what those cards look like. Hang on for a sec. So this class is going to be a fill in the blank class. So it is a stamped greeting up here. Doesn't have to be, but there is a stamped greeting up there. So if you have stamps at home, you can use them to put something in each of the spots. I will have an option for one stamp and an ink spot if you would like to purchase that from me. And the 4th card, this one kind of opens differently. I'll show you this. The others are more of a standard opening card. This one opens as a gatefold, like this. It's kind of nice, something different. All right, thank you so much.